I reckon there's one team in the AFL that has become kind of uncool and irrelevant, and it has nothing to do with their on-field performance or recent ladder positions. That team is North Melbourne, and in this video I'm going to take you through why I believe that's the case, the recent game day experience that made me feel this way, and we're going to go through my rebranded Guernseys to try and give them a more updated and modern look. But before we jump into it, be sure to check out our new channel memberships, where you can get early access to videos, exclusive content, and just help support the channel if you want to. Now I do want to point out that this isn't me hating on North Melbourne or, making fun of them in any way. This is more me coming from a perspective of someone who kind of feels sorry for them and wishes they could do or were doing better. So in 2025, North Melbourne played 2 home games in WA, one of which was against my team, the Freo Dockers, at Optus Stadium. And naturally, I went to this game. And I came away from this game with a really unique understanding as to why this team, North Melbourne, may not be so popular. So by this stage, I've been to probably like hundreds of Freo home games and a bunch of West Coast home games, as well as a bunch of other major sporting events. For these kind of pro league games, it's not about just the 4 quarters of football. That's obviously what you go there to watch, but it's also about like the event, right? The spectacle that is the experience of going to a major sporting event like this, and the kind of larger than life nature of the show, I guess, that they put on. So when I've gone to like Freo games in the past or West Coast games, it always feels like, kind of like you're going to like a big rock concert or something like that. In comparison, going to a North Melbourne home game felt like you'd gone down to your local pub and there's a dude in the corner strumming his guitar, and it's not bad, but it's nowhere near the excitement levels and the spectacle that you would expect from a professional kind of big league game. So what do I mean by this? Say you go to a Freo game, whenever the Dockers kick a goal, they play this kind of hype, pump up music that gets you really excited. It revs the crowd up and it gives a level of excitement to the game, in between when the goal is kicked and when play restarts. At this game, when North kicked a goal, they didn't really have any of that. Instead, they just played an ad for Mazda. It was really deflating, and obviously I'm not supporting North Melbourne, so there's a difference, but it was just genuinely deflating. It didn't hype up the crowd, and it made the game feel pretty flat. And even the choices of music they did use throughout the game, be it at quarter time or especially before the game, in the build up to the first bounce, the choices of music was really weird. It was the Beach Boys and the Rolling Stones and Elvis and maybe even the Beatles at one point. Again, not saying that's bad music. When you're getting ready and building up the anticipation and the excitement for a big game of footy, you need something that's gonna pump you up, get the adrenaline going, all that kind of stuff. Surfin' USA by the Beach Boys doesn't really fit that vibe. It made me realize that North Melbourne as a whole, their whole brand, their whole identity, is very outdated. I kind of got the feeling that this was a team that hasn't really modernized themselves or their brand or whatever since the 60s or the 70s. And that carries across to their Guernseys as well. Their home jumper is the vertical blue and white stripes. We get it, iconic, traditional, all that kind of stuff, but it does look like the bananas in pajamas, and it is very old school. Just recently they announced their 2026 away Guernsey. Not only is it just a terrible jumper because it's just bland and ugly and nothing particularly exciting about it, the only design element on the entire jumper is the bounding roo. Again, works great on the actual bounding roo jumper, but it's also the same kangaroo image they've used on every single Guernsey since the 90s. Someone needs to tell North Melbourne it's okay to modernize yourself from time to time. So this is the rebrand that I'm pitching for North Melbourne. And again, this is not abolishing tradition completely. This is more in the 80s or 90s, whenever it was, when Sydney got rid of their kind of classic South Melbourne V jumper and replaced it with the more modern Opera House design that we're more familiar with now. It's very modern, it's very unique, and it's one of, if not the best jumpers in the AFL. And to me, it makes sense for North Melbourne to have the vertical stripes be their iconic kind of retro heritage design that represents those decades gone by of the 60s, 70s. Because to be honest, I don't see many next generation kind of young footy fans jumping aboard and supporting North Melbourne. There's nothing cool about North Melbourne. And again, I don't mean that as an insult. It's just kind of the truth about who they are and their brand. So for the home jumper, we have, this mostly blue Guernsey. The bottom half is white, so you've still got, it's not just a straight out, royal blue jumper. It is half and half. And then you've got, again, a kangaroo logo on there, but it's a more modernized, more sleek kind of look. There's just something about it that gives them more of a, more of an edge to their look rather than just being really old-fashioned. For the away or clash jumper, you've just got an all-white version or a mostly white version with the blue outline of the roo. Now the crazy thing is this clash jumper isn't that too dissimilar to the actual kind of 2026 away jumper that I was just slagging off a minute ago, right? There are subtle differences that make it work where that one doesn't. One, it's the positioning of the roo. It's more centered, coming in from the side, so it's not too low down the jumper. The style of the roo they use, those stripes, diagonal stripes down in the bottom half of the Guernsey, it's just some kind of a design element to make it a bit more interesting and make a bit more going on than the basic 2026 away jumper that they've got. And then for an alternate version, you've got more of a darker jumper, an all blue version with a grey kangaroo instead of white. So this one's just a darker jumper that should work against the Cats. I think these jumpers look really great. I'm sure you guys will tell me all the reasons why that's wrong. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.